welcome to ID Creatures. We're gonna go ahead and start talking about ellipses since they're something that not a lot of people like because they're a little bit tricky sometimes. I did a little explanation page right here. I'm gonna start by just how you do a basic circle. I guess the easiest way to explain this is that everything can fit inside a box, okay? In this case, a square. And you have a square here, and you can find the middle by doing a cross like we did in the previous tutorial of proportions. And once you have the middle, you do a vertical line and a horizontal line. And where they meet, like these four places, the circle is going to be tangent, so it's going to be touching the surface and going around and touching it again and touching it again and again. So these places are where our circle is going to touch the square. Okay, so if you translate this into 3 dimensions, you have the exact same thing. I drew a square here, and a square here, and a square here, so it makes a cube, okay? So what I did is with red lines, I found the center, which is right here, and right there, and right there. And after that, I drew vertical. Well, it's not really vertical because it's 3-point perspective, so it's going to the 3rd point, but I'm just going to say vertical so you know it's easier to understand. So you have vertical, horizontal, and 2 lines here. It's not really vertical or horizontal, but you get the point. It's a cross. So where they meet, you have a tangent ellipse here, or you have a circle that once you get it in perspective, it's called an ellipse. Okay, so you have it here touching again and again and again. Okay, so it should be a really just something that flows out of your hand. Sometimes it's not so easy, but I think this exercise is really good because you avoid drawing ellipses in a certain, angle. And if you draw cubes in a whole bunch of different angles, then you force yourself to do this, okay? I'm gonna do an example after this. I just want to explain first. Okay, so what happens when you take an ellipse and you just extrude it, then you get a cylinder. So the way cylinders work is that you have 2 axes, okay? This axis right here is called a minor axis, and this goes to the perspective that's all the way over there. And you have a major axis, and what this is a line that crosses the minor axis where you want your cylinder to end and to begin. And the rule here is that the major axis and the minor axis have a 90-degree angle, relationship. So every time you have a minor axis and a major axis, they're always going to have this relationship of being 90 degrees one from the other. So they're perpendicular. Okay. And I did another one here just so you really understand the idea of, this one, and this one, and they're 90 degrees there. Okay. So I did this little side view here where, this is the minor axis and this one is the major axis. Okay. So if you look at it, it's like the margin of your cylinder. Okay. And once you have that, then you can do the ellipses. And the rule for those ellipses is that if it's closer to you, then it's going to be narrow. If it's getting away from you, then it's going to be really wide. Okay, you're going to learn that once we move along a little bit more. And then you have another example here of basically the same thing, but if you move the cylinder vertically, then I can't say that word. Okay, so if you move this in this direction, then you get, I just sort of sliced our cylinder so you can see what the inside of it looks like. Okay, let's imagine this is a coin and you're looking at it right on the side, so you only see, okay, how tall it is, which is really, really small because I'm imagining this, as a coin. But if you move it and your eye stays in the same place, then you move it and you see the bottom of it. But if you move it down, you're gonna see the top of it. So that's the idea here, Once you have an ellipse inside a cylinder, if it's going up from your eyesight or the horizon line, then you're gonna see more of it. Or if it's going down, you're gonna see more of it. And once it gets close, then you see nothing. Okay, I hope that's clear. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do an example of each one of these things. So we're gonna start with cubes. I'm just gonna try and draw them a bit faster, and just, you know, have more than one type of, let's say, space we want to fill with the, let's say, how can I put this? We're gonna draw ellipses here, and we always avoid a certain angle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna have different angles to fill it with, so we don't avoid any of them. So I just randomly drew boxes here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find the middle of all of them, and I think the best way to do this exercise is just really quickly, like I did right now, without really worrying about how proportionate your box is, because what you want to do is be really quick about it. I mean, this is once you have already gotten the idea of it, and you know, you did it really slow, and you just, you know, you went like from one place to the other and like that. But what we want to do now, other than messing up our sketch here, is doing some quick ellipses here. Okay, so they're not going to be perfect because I haven't practiced in a while, but what you want to do is just fill each space with ellipses. And see, what I did here is I tried to make them all come and meet and be tangent to all the edges. Okay, not all of them are perfect. In fact, none of them are really perfect, but you know, that's the way to practice. Just make a bunch of cubes and just make the, like, let's say here I came really far off the page, but you know, if you have a clear idea of what it should look like, then you can come back and just, you know, fix it so it looks a little bit better once you come back and do it. But the idea here is to get really fast and accurate, so when you're sketching you don't really think about a box and, you know, filling the boxes and everything. So once again, I'm just going to explain it. You have a cube here, okay, and this is one of the faces or the sides of the surfaces of the cube, and you want to have the ellipse here touch this point, this point, this point, and this point. And the reason for that is that you did a cross here, and you have a point that marks the middle of your cube, and you drew a vertical line and a horizontal line that go to the same place as, you know, your vanishing points, and this one goes to the same vanishing point. So you need to have all these four places be met by your ellipse. Okay, so here's the ellipse right here. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So I'm going to go to cylinders now. I'm going to draw a horizontal one, or one in, you know, perspective that way, and a vertical one. So even though it's the same rules, sometimes we get a little confused by this. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw a, let's say, a rectangular shape where the cylinder is going to be contained, because, you know, every shape can fit into one of these. So it's a simple way to start. Okay, so we have here a rectangular shape, and we want to find the middle first. So here's the middle, and we make a line that goes across, which matches that one. Okay, so that's going to be our minor axis. Okay, this line right here. Okay, and we need to have two major axes, and one of them is this one, and the other one is this one. Okay, so we have a major axis, and we have another major axis. Okay, so after we have our two major axes and our minor axis, now we need to have, I'm going to change colors here, we need to do two ellipses here that mark the beginning and the end of our cylinder. And what I recommend here is to make 4 little dots here of where the middle of the little box here is, so you can have a reference of where you want your ellipse to touch. There we go. So we have one there, and we need to have another one here. Okay, so we have one ellipse here, And we have another ellipse over here. And what I want you to notice is that this one is narrow and this one, it's a bit wider. And the reason for this is the same as I was telling you before. Once you have something that's closer to you, you're going to see less of this ellipse. And when it's far, you're going to see more of it. So it's the same rule right here. You see less of it because it's closer to you, and you see more of it because it's farther away from you. So I'm going to make two lines that connect, or that are tangent to these ellipses. And that's the way to draw a cylinder, okay? Now if we have a vertical line here, and we want to have two lines here, so that's the sides of the cylinder, and we have, let's say, our horizon line here, horizon line right there, and this is where we want it to begin, and this is where we want it to end. You can just like estimate this. This is the side of the coin. Let's say we're still working with the coin, and here's the coin if you're looking at it from the top. Okay, it's wider, and you see a bit more of the bottom. But if you're, let's say, right here in the middle, you're gonna see less of this. And the reason I'm drawing two of them is to mark the the height of the coin, or the depth of the coin. So so here you see more of the bottom, and here you see less of the bottom, and here you see no of the top or bottom. So if you're going down, it's the same thing. You see a little bit more, and if you're going even farther, then you see even more. Okay, this is the sides of the coin. Okay, so you see more, you see less. Okay, if you're getting close, if you're getting far, you see less, you see more. Okay, so I'm gonna do another one just really quickly here in perspective, and I'm gonna show you how normally I just don't do the box. I randomly just estimate how wide it's supposed to be. It's not always good to just randomly make it estimate the size of the ellipses, but when you're working really fast, I suggest you do that and not this. But right now, for just explaining how it works, then it's okay. But I think it's easier to just estimate where things should be, and just once you want to make the sketch look nicer, you can retrace and correct stuff. But I think this is the way to go, and this is the way to go, and this is just to understand how it works. Okay, so I hope you understood how ellipses and cylinders work, and that you keep watching this to learn more.